Good evening and welcome to Up South. Our top story today is from Tamil Nadu, where 4,500 private schools and over 170 engineering colleges were meant to be closed tomorrow. That's because the Federation of Private Schools in Tamil Nadu wanted to express solidarity with AIADMK Chief Jail Elita, who is imprisoned in Bangalore Central Prison. But now, after a public and media outcry, they have decided to withdraw the circular and instead sit on a hunger strike in Chennai tomorrow. Shisha Reddy sent us this report from Chennai.
The Federation of Private Schools in Tamil Nadu were doing something blatantly illegal. In a move that exposed the politicization of the education system in Tamil Nadu, they said that 4,500 private schools will remain shut on Tuesday to show their support for the AIADMK Supremo Jayalalithaa. 170 private engineering colleges were also to join in. But public and media outrage forced them to take a U-turn and withdraw their circular.
So nobody can declare a holiday, no individual can declare a holiday according to his or her own whims and fancies. Only the state government has got the power to declare a holiday for the school, take into consideration various reasons.
While the DMK termed the move to shut down schools and colleges illegal, the PMK moved Madras High Court against the forced holiday. The AIADMK is not too happy with the decision to keep the educational institutions open now. Its leaders say the students wanted to express their support.
Already the Amma, the various schemes implemented in favor of the student, school book, notebook, dresses, other things, chappals, all the cycles, laptops, all the goods given to the student. The students voluntarily involved in participate in favor of the Amma against the Kunka judgment.
Our Amma has done lot of favors to government schools and private schools. So these private schools are condemning the arrest of Amma and they are participating with their volunteerness. So I don't think this is a mistake.
A joke that's doing rounds: if the ruling party had its way in Tamil Nadu, it won't be A for Apple, but A for AIADMK and Amma. The fact that the school managements will be off foot for 12 hours for Jaya's sake is an indication of the political influence, be it out of choice or by coercion. In Chennai, Srisha Reddy for Headlines Today.
Joining me now from Chennai is political analyst Jnani Shankaran, also my colleague Shisha Reddy joining me from Chennai. Mr. Shankaran, public outcry has of course forced the Federation of Private Schools to withdraw their circular. But isn't this a dangerous trend trying to co-opt students into what is essentially a very political issue?
The Federation of School Management did a wrong thing, and I'm happy that now at least they've realized it and withdrawn the circular. They've withdrawn the circular because of two reasons. One, they are also worried that legally and technically only the director of school education can order closure of schools and they can't do it. So it will amount to a strike. So they have withdrawn the circular, more on the technical grounds also. Secondly, the public outrage has forced them to do this because it's an immoral and unethical act to kind of force children into supporting an issue where a corruption is involved. Children should not have been dragged into this. So I am happy that they realized their mistake and have withdrawn, and one is happy for the public pressure that comes on these issues. Only public pressure can reform these things.
Right. Shisha, you have been in touch with the members of this federation, of course, who are all travelling to Chennai to take part in that one-day hunger strike. But what essentially were they trying to achieve by keeping the school shut for one day?
Well, right, Sudhir, now that at least they have spared the students from not being a part of this protest, but yes, the correspondents from schools from different districts will be participating in this protest. They are already travelling to Chennai, and there will be protests from 10 a.m. in the morning. But why this protest? When I asked one of the federation officials, he told that as far as Chennai city is concerned, yes, there is a lot of police deployment and no untoward incident will happen in any of the schools if they keep it open. But when it comes to districts, there is a lot of fear because the students, there are more number of students, and the police deployment is not as good as it is in the city. So one is a fear factor that they fear that the students might not be spared by these ADMK workers or supporters in the districts if they keep the schools open. But yes, when I questioned one of these federation officials that why they had mentioned that, for seeking justice for Jayalalithaa in the letter that they had sent out yesterday evening, And the person who was talking to me did tell us that it was not by the Federation Association people, but by one of the supporter of the AIADMK who was in the Federation. So that is why
Right.
this statement came out, and it's been misinterpreted is what he's been saying. But of course, it has sparked a lot of criticism.
Absolutely, it has sparked a lot of criticism. Mr. Shankaran, do you see an attempt by some of these pro-AIADMK outfits to somehow keep the pot boiling? Or is it the fear factor, as the DMK has alleged, that many of them would want to be seen as doing this kind of symbolic protest for the AIADMK Supremo?
Definitely there is both a fear factor on the part of many of the establishments, because they are all dependent on the government and the ruling party for their own survival and for their own corrupt way of practices. So they are dependent on the government and the ruling party on one side. On the other side, the ruling party has a kind of a burden now that they have to keep the pot boiling till Jayalalithaa gets released. And therefore they are also doing it. So it's a question of both needing each other and both indulging in this. But the entire public are being taken on a ransom and being hijacked from normal way of life.
Right, Mr. Shankaran and Shisha Reddy, thanks a lot for joining us with that perspective from Chennai. Meanwhile, the big day is tomorrow in Bangalore, where Jayalalitha's bail petition as well as the suspension of sentence petition will come up for hearing in the Karnataka High Court. And keeping in view the sensitive situation, the Bangalore police has in fact ordered for 3 layers of security around the High Court as well as the jail premises where Jayalalitha is lodged. In fact, Section 144 has been imposed as well. Joining me now from Bangalore is my colleague Rohini Swami. Rohini, there is a clear attempt made in Tamil Nadu by AIADMK cadre in particular to somehow project this as a Karnataka versus Tamil Nadu fight, that Jayalalitha got the Kaveri water for Tamil Nadu, which is why Karnataka is miffed. But is there an attempt, is there a thinking at least in the Karnataka Congress government that perhaps the former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu should be shifted to a prison in Tamil Nadu? Already the CPI has made such a demand.
But there are two schools of thought, and one is that we have seen like a load of ADMK cadres have been pouring in ever since her conviction and her arrest. They've been also protesting and torturing their heads outside Bangalore jail. But yes, there has been a demand that is being made by the ADMK followers themselves, saying that if she has to continue in jail, as in bail is not being granted, then she be shifted to a Tamil Nadu jail, or more importantly, their demand is that she be given bail. See, the whole point is that the argument right now is whether she will get bail or not, because end of the day they feel that their Amma is behind bars. The second school of thought is also saying that the fact that there has been a lot of voices that have come from various corners saying that this could be a Karnataka versus Tamil Nadu issue, but political analysts have shot it down, saying it is nothing of that sort. It was basically a Supreme Court order that shifted the case from Tamil Nadu to Karnataka so that the case will not be influenced, and there's nothing to do with both the states that are involved or politicizing it.
Right, Rohini, thanks a lot for joining us with that perspective ahead of that crucial court hearing at the Karnataka High Court. Meanwhile, there is also a real version of Amma that's being made. In fact, though the producer and the director of the film say that it has got nothing to do with Jayalalitha, the resemblance is very, very strong.
A film titled Amma, which bears an uncanny resemblance to Jayalalitha's life, is now in the middle of a controversy. That is because the climax of the film now has a protagonist going to jail, just like what happened to the former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister. For director Faisal Saif, this is his second brush with controversy. His film Main Hoon Rajnikant was objected to by the superstar himself.
The film is not based on Jayalalitha's life. The film do have inspirations. The film is about a film actress who later on turns to a rebel due to the society, due to mishappenings around her.
Actor Ragini Dwivedi plays the lead role. Faisal is currently busy updating the climax of the film Amma, even as all eyes are now on what happens to Jayalalitha's bail petition before the Karnataka High Court. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
News now from Kerala, where the Kerala Congress has taken not very good to Shashi Tharoor, the Thiruvananthapuram MP, making comments which the party interprets are in praise of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, the KPCC Chief KPCC Vice President MM Hassan, I beg your pardon, said Modi does not represent secular or democratic values and that disciplinary action should be taken against Shashi Tharoor. In his defense, Tharoor has written that he is not pro-BJP but pro-India. News now from Hyderabad, where the 11th Metropolis World Congress is being organized. But if you thought Hyderabad is now a smart city, think again, as this manhole tragedy involving a 66-year-old man has shown that Hyderabad has a long way to go. Ratika Sharma has a report.
Tragedy in Hyderabad late on Saturday night when 66-year-old Hemant Kumar fell to his death. Kumar was returning home from the Shara celebrations at a relative's home when he fell into this open manhole. His body was found the next day.
All the roads are having full of potholes and manholes are open. When a family man with their whole family dependent on him has passed away for the negligence of our GMC and the PW department. They open manholes, they don't close it, they are not bothered about what's happening. They are only interested in pocketing the money.
The tragedy could not have taken place at a worse time. Hyderabad is trying to reinvent itself by holding the first international conference after the creation of Telangana state and going big on the Batukama festival. But clearly it is a long way before it can call itself a smart city.
If you really want Telangana to improve, Batukama playing will not solve the problem for people. Spending public money on just for nothing. Let him come and see how the death has happened here.
The municipal authorities say manhole repair work was going on in the area, which is why it was left open. However, two officials responsible for the negligence have been suspended from duty.
It shows that there has been some kind of a negligence, that the hole was open. It was actually the contractor was executing it. So we cannot right now say whether the engineer is at fault or not.
For TRS government that is trying to create brand Hyderabad by creating a world of make-believe here in the more glossy part of Hyderabad, this tragedy is a wake-up call about the careless manner in which the civic body works. With camera person Manohar, Ratika Sharma in Hyderabad for Headlines Today.
Welcome back. You're with Up South. And finally, tennis player Sania Mirza is back home in Hyderabad after winning the mixed doubles gold at the Asian Games. And she says people on the circuit ask her questions about Telangana, the state that she is now brand ambassador.
You know, it's circumstantial really, more than anything. The name is just circumstantial. I'm from Hyderabad and I'll always remain from Hyderabad. Yeah, I mean, today I'm proud, you know, we have a new state and we accept that, and I'm proud to be the brand ambassador of that new state. And, you know, it's in some way been quite lucky for me as well. I mean, I've won quite a lot after that. So, yeah, my relationship with Hyderabad goes on regardless, and my relationship with India goes on regardless.
That's it then on Up South this Monday evening. News and updates will continue on Headlines Today.